You guys having an issue with hard water spots on the RV or your truck and vehicles? Well, stick around. We're going to talk about the Camco water softener. Running a water softener with your RV is so important. Make the water flow through direction. In mineral deposits built up looks like, if you can see in there that. Hey everybody, welcome back to Why Wait. Today I wanted to talk about the TastePURE Portable Water Softener from Camco. Now, we've been running a water softener since day one of our full-time RVing adventures 3 years ago. In fact, when we bought the camper, the gentleman who owned the camper before us just gave us the water softener that he was using, and it came with the camper. Now, it was a smaller unit and it just wasn't really cutting it for us. We had to do the regeneration process too many times. It had some plastic fittings that eventually broke, and we just wanted to upgrade. So we were fortunate enough for Camco to send us this unit a while back and test out. We've been using this and it's been great. So I want to touch base on it a little bit, talk about it, and let you know why running a water softener with your RV is so important and why it can help out. Now, what are some of the main reasons we run a water softener with our RV? Well, for beginners, hard water can be pretty detrimental to any kind of plumbing and water fixtures inside. You can get that hard water scale buildup, that calcium deposit buildup. And when you're running the water softener, it's going to eliminate all that, especially when it comes to your water heater and the prolonged life use of your anode rods. If you have really hard water, you're going to burn through your anode rod faster. You're going to get more of a rotten egg smell that sometimes comes with the water heaters. So if you're running a water softener and you're in an area that has real hard water, you're going to get an extended use out of your anode rod, and you're just going to save wear and tear on that water heater as well as all of your plumbing fixtures. And I wanted to show you something. As you can see, this has some nice stainless steel hookups here. And if I turn this around, we already have a water quick connect hooked up on this side, and I'm going to hook the other one up on here. I use these water quick connects all over the place. It just makes life easier, hooking hoses up, unhooking everything. And I'll put a link to these down below, as well as everything we talk about today. I'll put that down in the video description. But if I can get this close enough to the camera, you're going to see what the hard water and mineral deposits built up looks like. If you can see in there that white, hard, crusty stuff that builds up inside there. In fact, we even had such hard water out in Idaho that it caused our water pump to stop working correctly. We had used the water pump only once. It got the water built up in there. It dried up, the calcium deposit built up, and it kept the little actuator valve from opening up. I have a whole video about that on actually troubleshooting the RV water pump. So if you're having troubles with your RV water pump, hard water could be a reason why. And I'll put a link to that video up here if anybody needs to go check that out if you're having issues with your water pump. But the hard water is it's detrimental for those as well. Another big reason we love running the water softener with our RV is, honestly, who likes hard water spots? I wash my rig all the time. We wash our truck all the time. You can't take the big dualies into car washes, so I'm usually hand washing them. And when you have those hard water spots, you got to dry it right away. Try to keep those from building up. And sometimes you wash the camper and it looks worse than when you started because you just get the hard water spots. When you're running one of these water softeners, I don't have to worry about that. I still dry my camper after I wash it in my truck, but I can take my time and not have to rush so fast and worry about that hard water stains getting built up all over the place. And the last reason we like running the water softener is it's good for your skin. Makes your skin feel so much softer and not as dry all the time. And I know that's an issue with my wife, and she really likes the soft water. We've had soft water units in our houses before we hit the road and did the RV life, so that's just the last reason. Now, I want to go ahead and talk in some detail about this, some of the features of it, the regeneration process, when do you need to do that, back flushing it, and some things like that. So let's go check it out. One thing I like about this unit versus our previous unit that we had is this comes with a nice durable plastic handle. The old one we had was just kind of a little piece of rope. Like I touched base on earlier, the fittings are metal versus plastic, and we've had one of those plastic fittings break off in our old unit, so I really like that with the Camco one right here. They send you a 4-foot section of hose, which is a nice hookup to go from this into your RV wet bay, and it's also going to come with a fitting that you can attach for when it's time to back flush this. And what back flushing is going to do is clean out any contaminants, and you want to do that every once in a while. And you're basically going to be running the water reverse of how you normally would. There's a little arrow up here, and it tells you which way to hook up the water that you would normally flow the water through. And when you go to back flush it, all you're going to do is hook up that fitting and run the water back the other way. Now the max water pressure on these is 125 PSI, which shouldn't be a problem, especially for RVers. And make sure you don't run this in freezing temps. Anything below 32 or 34 degrees, you're gonna want to disconnect, bring this inside your RV in the basement until the temperatures are above freezing. It's not meant for use in freezing weather. In fact, if you're in a cold environment all the time, you can actually hook these up inside your RV basement and just run a line that goes through to your wet bay. I've seen some people do that when they've RV'd an extended period of time in below freezing weather, so this doesn't always have to sit outside. Okay, so let's go ahead and take this over to the other side of my RV where we're gonna hook it up, and I'm gonna show you kind of how I hook it up and some little tricks and things that I do with my whole water system just to keep things flowing easier and quick connects and all that kind of stuff. So let's go ahead and jump over there, and we'll also talk about that regen process and the backflow process and all that stuff. Okay, so setting this up is very simple. Straight out of the box, it's ready to go. You don't have to add any salt, do any kind of process. All you have to do is hook it up. And again, it has the arrow pointing which way the water flow through direction. So we're gonna hook our water up. And I do use these quick connects, so we're just gonna screw this in here. Once you have it connected to your water source, the first thing you're going to want to do is just turn on the water and just flush it out for about 5-7 minutes, just until you see the water coming out of here. It looks nice and clear. I already did that. So I'm just going to connect it to the water hose going into my wet bay, going to my camper now. And again, I have the quick connect, so all you have to do is simply connect it right there, and you're all set to go. So that's it. That's all you would need to do to get this thing up and running and get going. But I'm going to show you a little bit about my water system and how I kind of hook things up just to make life full-time RVing a little bit easier. So I'm going to disconnect this, and I actually use a 4-way splitter right here. And again, links to all this stuff down below on Amazon. And on my outside, I run the 4-way splitter right there, and then I take the hose going to the RV and I pop it in right there. I take this hose, and I like to have it right here, because when I'm washing the camper and I'm washing the truck, I want to make sure I still have water going to the RV, and I still want to make sure I have another hose that I can wash the camper or my truck with, and I want that to be soft water, because you guys know the hard water spots on the truck and camper are a pain in the butt. And then we keep this little save or drop flow meter hooked up on this side, so when it's time to do the black flush, just take this hose right here and I just hook it right up to the flow meter, and I can clean up my black tank, and I can still have water run into the RV. So having one of these 4-way splitters is really, really helpful. And on this end of my water setup, I always like to run a water regulator. And if you're gonna run a water regulator, go ahead and make sure that's the first thing that you have hooked up to your water stanchion right here before it goes through any filters or anything else. You can turn this little dial right here, set your pressure. Then I have it going through our inline water filter, and this is just a basic water filter to kind of filter out sediment and things like that. We have 2 more stages of filtration after this one, and I like to put a Y splitter right after that. So I have this hose right here going to the water softener in the camper, and then if I ever want to hook up anything up, if I want to hook another hose up and I don't want to use the water softener, or I'm not worried about having soft water, I have a Y splitter right here, so I can hook that other hose up right here, and I usually have a quick connect on here as well. And then it just gives you access to have a hose that's not going through the water softener if you just want to rinse something off and you're not worried about the water being soft and stuff like that. So that's just our basic water setup, and a lot of these little tips and tricks will help out. It's just a lot less connecting, wrenches. If we have to do a project, you don't have to shut the water off. You can do the black flush, you can wash the car, you can still have water hooked up to the RV, and kind of have all these systems going all at once. And now we're gonna go ahead and go inside, and we're gonna talk about when is it time to actually do the regeneration process on the water softener, or how often do you need to back flush it? So the water softeners themselves require very little maintenance. 2 things you have to do every once in a while: a back flush and a regen process. Now the back flush you should do at least twice a year. You can do it a few more times. It definitely doesn't hurt to do it. In fact, I found that the more often you back flush, the less you need to do the more extensive regen process. And again, back flushing is just a process of reversing the flow of water backwards through the unit for about 7 to 10 minutes, and that's just going to loosen and break up any debris that's built up in there over time and keep things running more efficiently. Now, how often do you need to do the regeneration process? Well, that's going to depend on a couple factors. One, how much water are you using, how many people in your camper, the area that you're in, and how hard is the water in the area that you're in. Well, how do you figure all this out, and how do you know when it's time to do it? Well, you're going to use your water test strips right here, and what these are going to do is test the water hardness, and you simply just take a strip, dip it in for 2 seconds, and read it. When it gets to 120 ppm, parts per million, that's the recommended time to do the regeneration process. And I would recommend you doing these at least once a week and checking it out and seeing when that time has come. Now, when it's time to regenerate it, it's a very simple process. You go ahead and do the backflow process first, and once you've done that, you go to the regeneration process. And to regenerate it, all you need is simple table salt. And for a unit that size, you're going to want 2 of these, and you're going to make a brine solution. You're going to take a 5-gallon bucket, put 2 pounds of table salt in there. You're going to mix it with the water, and you're going to pour that solution into the unit by unscrewing the top, letting it sit in there for 45 minutes, and then you're going to run the water at a soft trickle for an extended period of time, about another 45 minutes, and then you're going to run it at full blast for, I think it was about 20 minutes. And all this information will be written down on the instructions that come with the unit. I would probably say that you're maybe only going to have to do this once, probably twice max a year, if that even. So that about covers everything, guys, for the TastePURE Portable Water Softener from Camco. Definitely something, if you're looking into it or been thinking about it, we definitely recommend running one. Again, we've been running one for over 3 years, and there's been a few times that we haven't run the water softener. For instance, when we were out in Idaho after the old one we had sort of kind of broke on us, and we could see a huge difference, especially out there where the water was really hard, and how it kind of actually messed up our water pump. And we were super excited when Camco reached out to us to check this one out. It couldn't come at a better time. If you guys are looking for a portable water softener to take on the road with you, whether you're full-time RV, do it on the weekends, 40-foot camper, something smaller, this unit is going to be great for you. It's going to protect your appliances, your plumbing, all that stuff a lot longer. No more dealing with hard water spots on the RV after washing it, or your trucks. Softer, better feeling skin. Couldn't recommend this product more, so go check it out. And as always, thanks for checking out our channel, and get out there, start your full-time RV adventure, because, well, why wait? See you guys next week.